Welcome to the Big F.U. I'm your host, Erica Cantor. This is a show all about fucking up and failing up. I'll be interviewing comedians, artists, entrepreneurs, and generally speaking, people I find interesting about the early parts of their careers to learn how they fumbled their way into various measures of success. For those of you who don't have any context on me, I'm a stand-up comedian, a writer, and a filmmaker. You can find some of my short films on YouTube at The Vegan Goat. I took a fairly circuitous route to get here. I studied engineering in college and then graduated and got a job in real estate development. But I was sitting at my desk writing screenplays and felt really uninspired by the potential path that I was on. And so I needed to shake things up. And ultimately, I was fired very early on in my career, and that shit was pretty devastating, especially coming from a background where it was like that was everything that I was working towards. But it also kicked me to chase my dreams and to pursue this path. That day that I was fired, I came home and I'm not kidding you, I stuffed my face with mushrooms. I was literally on the phone with my parents, like, I'm on shrooms, I'm tripping balls. They're like, Jesus Christ, our daughter is not okay. And I was like, I'm gonna make my movie that I've always wanted to make. And so then I started this journey of reaching out to filmmakers who had made independent features and trying to figure out how to go about that and how to do that. And then over the summer, I wrote the first draft of my script, went home to New York to try and raise money. And ultimately, I realized that I was a much shittier writer than I had thought. Writing a good script doesn't happen overnight, and it's not really a skill that you can just pick up over a summer. If you're making a really, really good script, you have to be working and honing this craft over a number of years, and that's why some of the best screenplays have taken 10 years to make. But through that journey, I started reaching out to people who are much smarter than I am and just asking them for help and asking them for advice. And I'd have these 2-hour-long conversations where I was getting golden knowledge that I don't think they teach you in school. So at first, this all started off as a how-to guide. And I think that it can still serve that purpose. But then it evolved as I started to have friends reach out to me and be like, hey, I'm working this uninspiring desk job and I want to start writing. Do you have any tips or tricks of the trade? And to them, I say, listen to the Big F.U. I've created this podcast with those friends in mind to just inspire people to pick up a fucking pen and get working, because even while you're sitting at your desk job, like, I'm not saying throw your career away and do what I did and sit at your desk and write screenplays, but I'm saying, you know, on the weekend, carve out an hour and just hone your craft and work on that and share it with friends and share it with people and get people's opinions on your work. And also listen to these interviews, because you're going to hear about ways that people make these careers work for themselves and they're able to support themselves and they are happy, and you do have to take risks and follow your heart, and it takes a lot of courage and it's scary and you have to make sacrifices, but it's also the best thing on the fucking planet. I just guarantee you that there are people with a lot less than you have who have made it work. And so then it's like, you just have to ask yourself, how badly do you want to do this thing? And I'm not saying how badly do you want to win an Oscar or open a restaurant or be featured in a gallery, because trust me, babe, we ain't there yet either. But how badly do you want to be doing it? How badly do you want to be writing or cooking or producing or whatever the fuck? And I don't think that you should ever abuse your privilege or do things in a way that lacks gratitude for what you have and where you come from. But the point is that there's people who have nothing and they live and breathe their art. And so if you can guarantee that you are going to have a roof over your head and food on the table, why not take on one of the most divinely human challenges that you can and pick up that creative pursuit? I guarantee you'll be happier for it. I have purposefully selected the people that I'm interviewing because I think that they are examples of people who are brave and maybe failed at one point and then got their shit together. You don't have to shy away from failure or think that failure or getting fired is the end all be all. You get better for jumping into it head first and hitting your head at the bottom of the pool and getting concussed and bleeding out. And then you can start life over again. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for listening. I hope you listen to these conversations. They're actually super useful, and people come up with way better advice than the whole pool analogy that I just came up with. But, you know, depending on your religious beliefs, that's actually a great analogy. So keep that one in the back of your head. Thanks for listening.